So in this video, I wanted to show everyone how to refill a Pilot Varsity fountain pen. This pen isn't sold as being refillable, but it's actually possible to fill it once it's gone dry. And you can see here, the ink window is empty and it doesn't write, so it's probably empty. So let's go ahead and give it a fill. You can see I have a rubber glove on because we're gonna be touching the nib area. It's just nice to keep, or a latex glove, whatever, it's just nice to keep some of that ink off your hands. The nib is removable, so you might wanna remove that just to prevent it from being damaged. It's only a $3 or so pen, but again, if you're going through the trouble of trying to refill it, it wouldn't really make sense to damage the nib in the process. Now you can see there's a plastic feed piece that goes through here, and it is removable, but it's quite hard to remove. If you've removed it before from a pen, you might be able to give it a firm tug and get it out, but it's usually hard and it will actually kind of hurt your fingers a bit. What some people do is they get some sort of pliers and they grab it and give it a pull, or you could kind of get some leverage on it against the body. But really what you're trying to do is do more pulling with the body itself and less with the plastic, I guess it's not the nib, but the feed piece. And you can see if you have a good firm grip, you won't actually damage that plastic at all. That's a hard piece of plastic. And clearly it didn't crack. There's a little bit of indentation there, but it's not gonna damage it at all. And then it clearly, there's a little bit of splashing, but really not much, because the pen has run dry. So while you wanna be careful, if your pen is dry, you don't have to get too worried about this whole process. But don't do it on top of a nice tablecloth or something like that. And then you can see the barrel here is basically empty. There's a little bit of ink in here. Nothing left, because I really wrote a lot with this. You can clean this, but it's kind of not necessary. Again, it depends how meticulous you are about these things. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some fountain pen ink. This is just some 4001, which is kind of the standard fountain pen ink from Pelican, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to fill it with a fountain pen syringe. You don't want to do too much. You're going to create quite a mess. So let's keep all the pieces together, and we'll kick this off with about 2 milliliters. And this is a process you have to be careful with. This could do more than 2. Let's just make sure we have a full 2 in there. A little bit more than 2. This is like 2.5, maybe. You don't want to overfill it. It's going to create a mess. So try to line up that window. And that's pretty good. So I don't know, maybe 1.75 to something like that. You can see it's clearly full here. Now we're gonna get this piece, we're gonna put it back. You wanna put it in as straight as possible, just because the plastic feed, it's a little bit delicate. And then obviously it doesn't click in until you hear a nice firm click. You'll see there's a line right here which will line up. The front piece will line up as well, and you want to push straight in and you'll feel a little bit of a pop. This part can actually be harder than you expect because you can't really use a tool as well to push it in, and you have to be a little bit careful not to damage the feed. If you can use your pliers then, you know, good for you, but it can be a challenge. Because now, not only do we not want to damage the plastic pit, but we want to make sure not to spill 2 milliliters of ink on your desktop, which would be bad news. There you go. Nice firm click. The nib, or the feed piece, I guess, is actually indented by maybe about 1 millimeter here. This piece lines up with that. Now you're gonna wanna get your nib on there as quickly as possible. That will have a little bit of a click as well to let you know it's fully in. So now, remove the glove, always recap your ink as quickly as possible. If this thing spills, then you're just gonna have to throw out your entire desk, possibly your apartment, just because it's gonna be such a mess. This won't write immediately, especially if it's been dry for a couple days. You will see the old ink start flowing because that's just because of the movement that's been going on in there. And then it'll start, like the new ink color will start to loosen up some of the old stuff. So this will start transition from the green to blue eventually. It already looks a little bit more bluish than it was, but you'll start seeing it change in the next few minutes. But the important thing is it's not leaking. Even if you shake it around, there's no leaking there. So you can be fairly confident that this is good to go, unless if you cracked something, but you should know if that happened. Pen is writing again. The window is full. And you could have done green, you could have stuck with a Pilot ink if you wanted, but again, I like this. This is a good ink, and then it's cheap, right? So you don't want to put, you know, a fancy ink, something like this in here. You're putting like $4 of ink into a $2 pen that's already been used for 6 months or 5 months or a day, however long, based on how much you're writing. But anyway, it's going now, and this video is getting long, so I won't keep going until it starts transition to the blue, but I think we're starting to see some color shift. Perhaps this looks less blue to me than this. Yeah, definitely start to see some color shift here. And now you're good to go with your full Pilot Varsity fountain pen. Thanks for watching.